What's up, everybody? Welcome to Valuetainment. We are here at the AmFest 2023, Turning Point USA. I have my co-host, Adam Sosnick, a.k.a. Hot Sauce. And with us today, we have one of my favorite new friends that I have. He actually gave me this pocket watch where I saw him at dinner yesterday, and he actually punched me in the face because I wasn't wearing it. One of
Roger,
the most.
by the way, just to help Vinny out, he wears it everywhere. He's in the gym.
Thank you.
Working out. He's got the timepiece on him.
It's his new trademark.
Yeah,
It's like a
this guy.
trademark.
I mean,
It's like a
if you don't
signature thing.
know
a
this
great
guy,
look.
if you haven't recognized him, you've been under a rock for the past 30 years. One of my really good friends. His nickname is the Agent Provocateur, Roger Stone.
yeah.
What's up, Roger?
Great to be here.
How's it going?
Vincent, Adam, great to be here.
Everything good? How's your?
I just finished my speech here at America Fest. It was really great.
Yep.
I'd enjoyed it. I pride myself in coming in at exactly on time, yet still saying everything I wanted to say. It worked out great. So, had a great time.
And Raj, overall, what Charlie's putting on here, I think yesterday Pat said something about the movement that he is causing, the movement that this is creating for the younger generation, Raj. And I've been saying this whole time that I've been here. I was questioning the future. I felt like the youth were lost. I mean, they're dealing with a lot of issues with, you know, the gender stuff and LGBTQ and the racism and the white people are evil and the protests. Where do you think we're going with the youth, Raj, and how important this movement is that Charlie's put together?
I think that America has had a legitimate conservative movement, kind of started by Barry Goldwater, really leaving bigotry and racism behind under the leadership of Bill Buckley. But it is the movement that elected Reagan. It is the movement that elected Nixon. It is the movement that ultimately elected Trump. But what Charlie's doing is renewing the movement with a whole new generation of new people who are dedicated to constitutional principles and the basic ideas of liberty and freedom. So, like no one else really, I think he's revitalized a movement that already existed, but which very badly needed new blood.
The one of the stats that he showed yesterday was high school students, right? So I'm very concerned about Gen Z, and after Gen Z is Gen Alpha, right? So basically, I think Gen Z is mid-20s to 18 or so, 15 or so, and then the generation below that is Gen Alpha. And they're basically showing Gen Z is, not even my opinion, the gayest generation ever.
It's a fact.
Okay.
We're not being funny.
20% of Gen Z identifies as LGBTQIA+. The numbers don't support that there's actually that many gay people in society. It's less than 2%, 5%, whatever number you want to pick. But what he showed was high school students, especially boys, are becoming more conservative, whereas girls are becoming more liberal. I believe that men and women need to get better together, right? Dividing men and women, how does that help society? You talk about young people and getting more active and more conservative. What are you seeing out there from young people that you're surprised about, that you're happy about, that you're...
Well, there needs to be an alternative to the public education system where they're being told things, taught things, they're being constantly things put up upon them and reinforced that are simply not true. I'm sorry, but a man cannot choose to be a woman, and a woman cannot choose to be a man.
Yeah.
There's two genders. It's in the Bible. Most doctors who aren't woke will tell you that. I just use that as one example. I'm a libertarian. If an adult chooses to be gay, that's up to them and their God. No problem with that. But children, particularly children who aren't old enough to make a decision for themselves, they're not informed enough, they're not educated enough. We don't teach history either. So I always take the opportunity to speak on campuses I can, to speak out to student groups. But when you say Abraham Lincoln and their eyes glaze over because they have no idea who that is, or even worse, you say George Washington and they say, oh, well, he was a slave owner. When we start tearing down statues of Thomas Jefferson, one of the great proponents of liberty and freedom, and who, by the way, was an atheist or a deist. That this doesn't make any sense to me. We're putting up statues to George Floyd while we're tearing down statues of Thomas Jefferson. So I think what Charlie's doing and this movement is providing alternatively, and in my opinion, accurate information to younger people because they're not hearing it in the public schools. We largely don't teach American history at all, which is yet another way of erasing our heritage, erasing our history.
Wow. So you're saying that you think because of movements like this, Roger, that the future, there is some hope, there is some light, because the way the left is, like, I think we spoke about this the last time we spoke, Roger, they're relentless. The left doesn't give up. The left doesn't have a recruitment problem like the right does, like our military does. They have a line that's going around the block. I think it's difficult because this youth, to target them, to get them to actually get on board is difficult. But where do you see?
Well, guess what? I don't give up either.
Good.
Either does Charlie Kirk. Either do everybody who speaks here today. There's, I'm told, totally in terms of registrations, 15,000 people registered for this conference.
It's amazing.
I've been doing this for 45 years. I've been to a lot of young Republican national conventions. I've been to a lot of conservative political action conferences. I've never seen a crowd like this, and they are disproportionately under 25. I think that's an excellent sign.
Yeah. You just touched on, you've been in politics for 45 years, right? You were in the lobbying world, I think, with that. You were partners with Paul Manafort at one point, right?
Partners, yes, indeed.
So Donald Trump, right? You've been a friend, you've been an advisor of his for
45 years.
Yeah, exactly. So you're not new to this game. Trump may get elected, he may not. We'll see what happens. Obviously, the people here want to see him get elected. My question is, where does the GOP go after 2028? So if Trump wins, that's great, amazing. What's the future of the GOP? Because there seems to be a civil war, the rhinos, the MAGA.
There really isn't. Political parties are always formed in the image of their leader. McKinley, Lincoln, Teddy Roosevelt, Dwight Eisenhower, Ronald Reagan. So the Republican Party, the old Republican Party, the country club Wall Street Republican Party, that party's dead.
Yeah.
Most wealthy people in the country today are Democrats, not Republicans. Most people on Wall Street are Democrats, not Republicans. So under Donald Trump, the party has been transformed into a working class party. It's a blue collar, America First party. So, and Trump says this himself, it's not about him, although he's a very effective spokesman and leader for that wing of the party, which is by far at this point the dominant wing of the party. But recognize his nomination in 2016 is the hostile takeover of the Republican Party as previously controlled by the Bushes. And that is an elitist, upscale, country club-oriented, establishment-thinking party. Who will be the leader post-Trump? We don't know the answer to that yet, other than to say that person will emerge. They'll emerge from the battles of 2024 and beyond. If you ask Trump today, it's my opinion, who do you like for vice president? He doesn't know. He hasn't decided. I suspect in the back of his mind he's got a short list, and people probably get on it and drop off of it and so on. But it's not like we're devoid of talent, because we're not.
Yeah, that's true. What are the chances you think it's going to be a female?
Well, the old metrics of choosing a running mate used to be geography.
Right.
Richard Nixon once said to me, when you pick a running mate, just try to find somebody who doesn't hurt you, and don't try to find somebody who will help you, because there is no one who will help you. And by the way, he botched that 2 times. Henry Cabot Lodge in 1960, Spiro Agnew in 1968. Although Agnew was chosen because he was trying to bridge the moderate and conservative wings of the party, back when the party still had 2 wings. And it worked. It got him through the 68 and 72 elections, won him the biggest landslide in American history. But I really don't think that the establishment leaders in the party at the federal and state level, they have no troops. They don't have any voters. So when it comes to primaries and caucuses, they will lose. Case in point. I don't think there's a huge appetite for sending more money to Ukraine.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be one. It's certainly on the right.
Certainly not in our party. But our leaders in Congress seem to be intent on doing that. We're just using that as one example. So I think that the party will never go back to being what it was. The white man's party, the party of the wealthy and the elite. We're going to be a working people's party, and we're going to make historic gains among Hispanic voters and among African American voters. Now, those gains will be incremental at first, but an incremental gain still changes the whole dynamic. So in 1960, running against the great John F. Kennedy, Richard Nixon got a third of the African American vote in America.
A third, Raj?
A third. George Bush barely breaks, I think he got 9, maybe it was 11. Trump, in his last time out, got 12. I think he should have talked more about his criminal justice reform accomplishments, the First Step Act, the Second Chance Act. I think he could have done even better. But I think economic issues are going to drive that. And then, frankly, his criminal prosecution, I think, makes him a sympathetic figure among people who've been fighting the man their whole life.
No doubt. One quick follow-up.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I don't want to put the cart before the horse and already figure out what's going to happen to the party in 2028. Let's focus on 2024, which is, by the way, around the corner. DeSantis. So we all live in Florida. He's our governor. We all think that he's done a good job as governor of Florida, but it's been...
Don't speak for me in that.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Well, this is what I'm going to ask
Watch your mouth.
So, well, in my opinion, he's done a good job being a governor, but it's been clear that he doesn't have the cachet, the personality,
Just call it
chutzpah,
The chutz.
the
Spit all over the
factor
mic.
to be president. There we go. What's his future? You don't seem to be a fan of him.
I don't think he has I see his plan, but I don't know that he has a future. First of all, and I said this first time on Patrick Ben-David's show, you were there. I said if he challenged Trump, he would get crushed.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was running ahead of Trump at the time. I put a very high premium on loyalty. Ron DeSantis was an undistinguished, unknown congressman running badly behind in the polls, having trouble raising money. When Trump lifted him out of obscurity to skyrocket him to the Republican nomination, and then Trump had to change his schedule twice in the last 3 weeks to return to Florida in 2018 to literally drag him across the finish line because Ron is not a charismatic or particularly compelling candidate. He also didn't know much about state issues because he had really been planning to run for the U.S. Senate, and then when there was no opening, he opted for the governor's race, but he'd never served in state government. He didn't know much about it. I put a huge premium on that. MAGA voters, Trump voters, particularly Trump voters outside the Republican Party, I will never forget Ron DeSantis. Now, there are those who say if he had just waited, it all would have fallen into his lap. I actually don't think that's true either because he still would have had a competitive race for the nomination in 2028, and I think his flaws as a candidate still would have surfaced. Likability is a huge factor in getting elected. Reagan was a much better candidate than Goldwater because Goldwater was kind of a crabby, irascible, almost like
Crotchety kind of guy.
Yeah.
much like Ross Perot, wanting to give you bad news, And Reagan was the ultimate optimist. Sunny, genial, likable. Trump has this going for him. Trump is, on top of that, Trump is entertaining. He's funny.
Yeah.
He can be self-deprecating. It's a show. Whether you like him or not, you can't turn it off because you got to watch it.
Right.
Ron DeSantis, he's charisma challenged.
Yeah.
There's nothing interesting about him. I don't think he likes people. He's been known to wear earbuds when he's not listening to anything so he can avoid human contact. He's not good on television. That debate with Gavin Newsom
Horrible.
kind of reminded me of Richard Nixon's debate with John Kennedy. Newsom won on style.
Yeah.
He looked comfortable. He looked loose. He was funny. He took some shots. He got some shots, but he took some shots. And DeSantis looked tight, angry,
Of course.
sweating.
Well, the story with that famously, and you were around at that time, was anyone listening on radio was convinced that Richard Nixon won that debate against
Right.
JFK. Anyone on TV was
Correct.
convinced that JFK won, much like DeSantis and Newsom.
Yes.
Anyone that just looked at just the plain facts and the data
Yeah.
would be like, DeSantis has everything on his side.
Yeah.
But when you look at swagger and personality, you just don't have that it factor.
No, two things. I think I would agree that DeSantis won on substance, but substance doesn't win the debate. That's what Nixon thought. Newsom won on style, and he kind of floated like a butterfly and stung like a bee. Oh, by the way, Ron, the crime rate in Jacksonville is higher than it is in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah, and I also think, I think one of the problems is that I think he'd be a more natural and like you get to see, because when I see him speak, DeSantis, I feel like there's something that's holding him back, and it might be the height thing. I think the boots thing, if he just took off the boots and stood there and said, listen, I'm 5'6", let me come out, like, people come out of the closet, come out of the boots, show us who you are, and then maybe, Roger, that might be the extra oomph that he needs to get him past.
Vincent, I think you're being way too rough on him. He's at least 5'6.5". Look, remember, Florida limits our governors to 2 terms. He's in his 2nd term.
Yeah.
So his term ends in 2026. Cannot run again. We don't have another U.S. Senate seat open, not necessarily open, but on the ballot till 2028. That's Marco Rubio, who's still a relatively young man. No reason to believe that Marco's going to retire. Marco Rubio would beat Ron DeSantis in a statewide primary. But
You think
also-
Rubio would still beat DeSantis in a Senate race?
Well, how does DeSantis?
Well,
how does he raise money for 2 years when he's out of the governorship? 'Cause
Yeah.
all the money he's raised now, he's extorted. Florida Power and Light gives $9.5 million to Ron DeSantis, and you live in Florida. We get a 25% increase in our electricity rates.
Oh, wow.
If your house blows away in a hurricane and your home insurance company offers you pennies on the dollar, you can't sue them because Ron DeSantis took $5.4 million from the insurance industry to sign a tort reform bill that prohibits you from suing the insurance company. Now, that's all legal, by the way. It's legal bribery. It's bribery, but it's legal
The good
bribery.
kind. The good kind,
Now, if
where
you
you
put-
don't go to jail for it.
If he put that money in his pocket, it would be a crime. But it is taking special interest money to affect public policy decisions. I still think it's wrong. And he's also, let's face it, at this point, he's an absentee governor. He just hasn't been in the state. We have an insurance crisis. We have a utility rates crisis. We have an increasing crime crisis. He's just not there. So here's my prediction. Casey DeSantis will run for governor in 2026.
Casey,
The
his wife?
The University of Florida, which just got a massive grant from the state, what's the first thing they do is take and release a poll showing that if she ran for the Republican nomination for governor, she would lead. That's not coincidental. I think that they are addicted to the private planes and the five-star resorts and the lifestyle. But I think he's going to find out of office, if he thinks that people are giving to him because they like him, they're not. They're giving it to him because they have to or they want something. I think she'll run. That at least would give him the fulcrum to raise money for a possible U.S. Senate race in 2028 if Rubio should retire. Remember, Rubio's tried to retire twice before and then changed his mind. The other Senate seat, Rick Scott, is up this year. Or next year. Rick Scott will get reelected. That seat won't be available for another 6 years. So where does he go? You need to run for president. you need a fulcrum from which to raise money, not just a little money, but a huge amount of money. He had that this time. He will not have it next time.
So Raj, going election 2024, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious with the Democrats have given up on Joe. They're actually allowing stories to come out about him, connections with Hunter Biden. I think about it, Raj, if it was 4 years ago, the FBI would have been at Twitter, FBI, the mainstream media, everybody would have shut down all these stories. They seem like they've given up on him and they're moving on. I know it's a little bit too early to guess. We spoke almost a year ago, and you said that you predicted that if the left had nobody, especially if they gave up on Biden, they'd go Michelle Obama. Where are you at right now? Do you still believe something like that could happen? And do you think if you had to pick a Gavin Newsom or Michelle, who else would you slip in there that would be the left's?
Look, here's I think the Democrats' dilemma. Professional Democrats and party leaders have a serious doubt as to whether Joe can win again. The polls demonstrate this.
No doubt.
They're not getting better, they're getting worse. So, sure, they would like to replace him. Could be done rather seamlessly. He could simply claim that he wasn't running again because of his health. He's clearly not well. But their biggest problem is Kamala Harris. Based on the rules of conventional politics, she's next in line. She's the sitting vice president of the United States. She's also a woman of color in a Democratic Party where that's an important constituency. So how do you just bypass her? It's not easy to just bypass her. The only way, in my opinion, they could bypass her is by nominating Michelle Obama, a African-American woman who's more popular than Kamala Harris and carrying far less baggage. And don't get me wrong, Michelle Obama would be a very, very formidable candidate. If people are stupid enough to be out making jokes about her gender, that's stupidity. She would be very, very tough to beat. She can raise whatever money she needs. The Democratic National Convention has very different rules than our convention. So Joe could have enough votes to be nominated, but through the use of the superdelegates, I think he could be pressured to step aside.
That would be wild. We've never had a female president, and now you're telling me that there's a chance, a decent chance, if Joe Biden steps aside, that not only we will have a female president, a female vice president, we'll have two first husbands and a second husband.
But maybe Kamala Harris, just thinking creatively, agrees to take a commitment to go to the U.S. Supreme Court if a Democrat is elected president and they win the Senate. She is, after all, a former attorney general and a former prosecutor in California. Yeah. And then Gavin Newsom becomes their candidate for vice president.
Oh, God.
They cannot replace Kamala Harris with a white male if Joe Biden elects to run.
How about this? I don't know how this works. If Michelle Obama ran for president, by the way, I still think Joe Biden's running, but we're playing the hypothetical game.
You could be right.
Yeah, we're just still playing the hypothetical game. Imagine if she had her husband, Barack Obama, as the VP. Is that possible?
I believe it is not possible. I've read a long article about this. I think it is not possible.
Why? Because once you were president, you can't go back to being VP?
Well, the Constitution contradicts itself in two places. In one place, it says you can't serve two terms. You can serve more than one term, but they don't have. You can serve two terms, but they don't have to be consecutive. Elsewhere, it says no person can be elected to the presidency more than twice. Now, in a scenario in which, let's just say, whoever was president resigned, but Barack Obama was vice president, would he then be constitutionally eligible to serve as president?
God forbid something happened. Good point.
Right. And the answer is he may not be. Very good piece on this. I think it was in Politico, which normally nothing they write is worthwhile, but this was.
Good to know.
So, Raj, still staying on the election, with Trump being the front runner by what's the numbers? And by the way, we go on Vegas polls, Roger, and Biden has been winning for the past 3 years. We just did it live a week ago on the PBD podcast home team. Trump is now the actual favorite. He passed Joe Biden, right? If you had to guess, Roger, and again, I'm being hypothetical, 2020, it was COVID, FBI, involved in Twitter, doing all this nefarious interference, AKA cheating. This year, it's coming up pretty hard. We're getting signs like predictive programming signs, Roger, from movies that are coming out by the Obamas. Funny we talk about them, called Leave the World Behind, about a big cyber attack that cripples the country, coup d'etat. Now another movie's coming out called Civil War. It's almost as if, Roger, they're getting us ready for something bigger. Do you feel like, and we've talked about this, they're not going to quit. The Democrats are some dirty Democrats, and they'll do whatever. Do you think they're going to try anything crazy, Raj, to steal the election?
Look, in politics, a week is a lifetime. We could have another pandemic. We could have a power grid failure. We could have a terrorist attack on U.S. soil. Americans tend to rally around a wartime president. We could have a war with Russia. I think it's likely we're going to have a war with Russia. I don't think we should have a war with Russia, but I think it's likely. So I think we're in for the wildest year we've ever seen. I think anything whatsoever is possible. Any of those events would affect the electorate, but it's hard to say how it would affect them. They could inadvertently, in some cases, strengthen Trump's hand. Trump can point to the fact that he had no new foreign wars during his presidency. We had no attacks on American interests during his presidency. We had a robust economy during his presidency. So I think there's going to be a certain nostalgia for the normalcy, ironically, of a Trump's years, which are thought to be, in retrospect, tumultuous, but compared to what we have today, look preferable.
Well, so shifting away from politics a little bit, what I like about you, Roger, is you're real, right? Like you're authentic. You're not some mechanical, policy-driven person. You're yourself. Yeah, I mean, is that fair to say?
That's fair to say.
You also, you like to socialize and have a lifestyle, and you've been to parties. You like to do your thing. You've been to parties in D.C. You've partied with Republicans, with Democrats. Hell, Trump was even a Republican up until 2016. I want to know, who throws better parties? Republicans, Democrats? What's it like partying with all these people?
You know what I really miss is the days when everybody went to one party. See, our politics has changed. This politics of personal destruction, which I think, by the way, the Republicans started in the impeachment of Bill Clinton, because Bill Clinton should not have been impeached for fooling around with the White House.
That was Newt Gingrich.
You're right.
If anything, he should have been saluted for not having to deal with Hillary.
I agree with that. But the point is, I think there were crimes by Bill Clinton, such as selling our military secrets to the Chinese in return for illegal campaign contributions through the L'Oreal company. I've written a lot about that. That was an impeachable offense. But Monica Lewinsky and his dalliance with her, that was not an impeachable offense. So I see that as the beginning, and I blame Gingrich, of this politics of personal destruction. When I lived in Washington, which has been a while now, I had a lot of friends who did what I did, but they were Democrats. We ate together, we drank together, we teased each other. Sometimes they beat us, sometimes we beat them. When they beat us, we would say, okay, I'm going to get you next time, and vice versa. That's completely gone. There's no civility. I was once friendly with James Carville. I was once friends with Paul Begala. We are fellow Hungarian Americans.
Wow.
But I don't hear from those
the
guys
Raging
anymore.
Cajun?
Yeah.
And Paul Begala? What's your relationship with guys like that these days?
I haven't heard from them in quite some time.
So you're saying that prior to 2000 or so, you could coexist?
Yeah.
You'd go to the same party, same restaurants.
Right.
You still were American inside and out.
It was a business, I believed in my party. They believed in their party. We would do anything short of breaking the law to win. They would do anything short of breaking the law to win. But there was a civility in politics that is just completely gone. And no, it's not my fault.
Okay.
And Raj, I mean, I don't think it's a secret. We spoke about this the other day. I think conservative women, by far, look better than Democrats. I'm just throwing that out there.
I'm not big on the hairy armpit thing. I don't know.
Wait, you don't like blue hair and no? All right, Raj.
I'm not really into the chicks with dicks thing.
So all right, so wait, we have to wrap up, but I want to ask Roger one question, Raj. This is random and out of left field. All right, I'm gonna name 3 females, and you ready for this, Raj? You gotta marry one, you got to bang one, and you got to kill one. You ready?
Oh my God.
Hillary Clinton, Whoopi Goldberg, Rosie O'Donnell. You got to marry, bang, kill.
Hard pass. Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, Roger Stone, everybody. He's killing all of them.
Thanks, Raj. We're here at Turning Point, Valuetainment in the house. Adam Sosnick here, Vincent Oshana, and a legend just stepped in the building unannounced. Unplanned.
I mean, we thought he was
Just sat
security.
down, thought he was security. We got James O'Keefe in the house. Give it up for James O'Keefe, ladies and gentlemen. So, when did we do that interview
That was
with Patrick?
February 1st, 2022.
Okay, so the last 24 months since we first met, since we've done
Crazy.
content, have been a wild ride in James' life.
Crazy.
No doubt. Project Veritas, which you founded, you're no longer with. There was some sort of power struggle there. Ouster, you've now since founded OMG O'Keefe Media Group. First question. What's going on in the life of James O'Keefe these days?
What isn't going on?
We saw you at IBM. We want to get into that.
Yeah.
Give people the rundown.
I feel like every few months there's another hurricane. I mean, and literally, like right before I met you, a hurricane destroyed our office, and then a month later I was raided by the FBI, and then and then there's the Pfizer thing, and I mean it's just wild. I think it's just when you're, the tip of the spear and truth telling, and you make a lot of enemies, you become a target in every conceivable way.
And James, has it, not to cut you off, and James, so, by the way, just Googling right now on regular Google, who's run by the elites, you can't even really find the story about you and the IBM thing.
Yeah.
So can you give us a breakdown of what is going on? What'd you expose? Because we saw a video, we played it yesterday, of the CEO, I don't know his name, but basically saying, white people are bad, and only thing that you're going to help out, you have to help the minorities if you want to move up or do anything positive.
Yeah,
in the
this was a leaked video for the all-staff call, the CEO of IBM, saying that you have to discriminate, or we're going to dock your bonuses, dock your pay, and Asians are not. This is his words. Asians don't count. We're going to fire you if you don't do this. So this is against the law. And this individual, who's pretty high up inside IBM, trusted me. And I always thought, the Veritas thing they were moving. I thought, well, that sucks, but it feels like that kind of helped me because people trust me more. And this guy comes to me, and I published the tape, and then 150 people inside IBM then came to me.
Wow.
Usually it's like one or two, but so I feel like something's happening. There's this sort of groundswell of insiders who, because they can't fire all those people.
Yeah.
So now it's just like all day long I'm responding to DMs. I'm here. I'm there. I'm releasing more tomorrow.
Wow.
So, James, Veritas, correct me if I'm wrong, means truth.
Truth.
In Latin, correct?
Yes.
And I believe Harvard, that's their
Motto.
Yeah.
their motto. That's what's going on there. There's so much stuff to cover. There's so much truth or untruth that needs to be exposed. There's only one James O'Keefe. I don't know the future of Project Veritas. I don't know what's going to happen when the CEO and founder leaves a company. Usually that company doesn't work out too well. How do you pick and choose what stories you're going to cover? There's only one O'Keefe. Unless you're duplicating yourself out there, how does it all work?
How do we pick the stories? The stories kind of pick us.
Wow.
Because if I say I'm going to go investigate this guy and find this thing, first of all, that's really hard. You might be wrong. You're probably not going to get it. But if the people on the inside come to you, they're already on the inside, then that's how you decide who your subject is.
Yeah.
So I don't even know what the next thing is going to turn up. I just have to be relentlessly fearless and persevere no matter what, and fight all the way to the Supreme Court. I get sued all the time.
And James, I think I speak for a lot of people, can't explain with my words how important and how much I respect what you do, because you're letting us see it. The mainstream's not going to show what you're doing because they're all run by the same people.
Correct.
James, do you get scared at all? Because if you think about it, you're not just one of these guys on the internet going, hey guys, saw this video. You're James O'Keefe. Your word gets out there. People love and respect you. Do you ever get worried that these people are? I mean, they're obviously out to get you, your character and the money and everything. Yeah. I mean, that's why you're wearing it. But do you
I
actually
used to wear it under the blazer, and then people would say, "Are you wearing?" So I just started, putting it on the outside. No, I don't really. I think that I am afraid, but not to the extent that most people are.
Okay.
And I think that I don't focus on the fear. I focus on the passion of what I'm doing. I'm excited about it, and I don't really. It's not really something I give a lot of attention to. And I think there are some folks that are just wired differently, and I got to find the fearless people out there, not focus on the people who are afraid and try to convince them not to be, because that's too difficult.
Got you.
One of the things that I asked you, I think the first time we did the podcast, you just came out with your book, Muckraker.
American Muckraker.
Yeah, awesome book. I was like, man, how does this guy sleep at night? Meaning, the old sleep with one eye open thing. You're exposing things, whether it's with big pharma, whether it's with big tech, whether it's what's going on in institutionals and governments. There's a lot of people that basically would not want you to sleep well at night. And I'm not sure if you're wearing this intentionally to prove a point, or literally because people want you not around.
Maybe both, but I would say that I would ask the question: how do the people that I may be investigating how do they sleep at night?
Wow.
They're probably more afraid of me than I'm afraid of them. In fact, they probably don't want to do anything to me because I'll just expose what it is that they're doing to me. So I think if they're rational, I don't think they'll want to do anything. But of course, it's difficult. But you try not to focus on the fear.
Yeah, it's a weird analogy, but I think it's kind of true. When you remember the show To Catch a Predator, whatever it was, with Chris Hansen. He was on the podcast. When Chris Hansen walks in a room,
it's over.
Like, you don't want to be in that room. You did something wrong.
Yeah,
if James O'Keefe walks into your company, into your organization, into your political...
With the iPad and goes, wait a minute, that's you.
You know you fucked up.
Yeah. Like, that's the worst person you want to see is James come in with a laptop and go, hey, wait a minute, isn't that you? And you're like, I'm just trying to eat dinner. And James is like, no, that was you. James, are there any stories, have you had anybody come up to you with something so bad that you still haven't reported on it because you are worried that it might be... like, James, it might be too much, because I've seen, one of my favorite movies is Michael Clayton, where this big like Pfizer type company, they have, if you try to expose them, James, I don't know if you've seen it with George Clooney, they have hitmen that work, basically, it's like secretive, they'll come after you. Is there anything that's too much that you're holding on to that's like the nail in the coffin, so to speak?
I mean, I think the sex trafficking stuff is pretty hairy, and I've been warned, but I think that's probably one of the things that we'll be doing. And I did something in Saudi Arabia 2 weeks ago, and everyone told me not to publish that. I published it anyway, and people thought I was crazy. But I'm going to follow the truth wherever it goes, and so be it. And I have to. That's my life's work. That's my purpose, and I've lived a good life. I'm almost 40 years old, and I just don't focus on the fear.
And by the way, he's 40, but that's not his real hair. Just we'll throw that out there.
I have a lot of stress, so the grays are coming in.
Yeah, no,
I actually wanted to ask you about the hair. So you gotta, I'm trying to maybe use Just for Men to take the grays away. Vinny's embracing it.
I'm embracing it.
I just went all the way.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about that. You're about to be 40. When's your birthday?
In June.
Okay, so you're 39, about to be 40. By the way, Charlie Kirk just turned 30.
Is that right?
He's a baby.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
He's remarkable what he's accomplished.
Incredible what Charlie's doing. So what's with the gray hair? Why are you trying to look older and more regal?
It was funny. I was going to spray it blonde, and I bought the wrong product.
That can't be the truth.
It's the truth.
I swear.
Stop it.
He's Project Veritas. He's telling the truth.
Spraying. He's like, that's not blonde, that's gray. I was like, yeah, I'll spray it all gray. So I was getting really gray from all the stress, so I'm just going full gray now.
So why did you want to go blonde?
I don't know. We're shooting a music video or something like that, and I was doing a color of the hair. So I do some theatrical stuff.
Well, you're going to age well. Lifestyle. You're about to be 40.
Yeah.
And you said June?
June, yeah.
So
28.
6 months or so. You're not married.
No, not yet. No.
No kids that you know.
He's on the
kids.
market. He's on the market.
How do you look? 3 single 40-plus dudes right here, almost 39.
You're single too? You guys want to?
Yeah.
Well,
How old are you?
I'm 42.
How old are you?
45.
So we'll get into my personal life in a second. But how do you see yourself settling down, being a family man, having kids, when you're running around exposing everything? How's that going to work?
You got to find an incredibly patient woman. You know.
Yeah, good luck with that, James.
You got to find the right partner, I guess, who's willing to put up with that and be the right partner. Because obviously, you know, my purpose and my principles come first, my values. So I would assume that person, you know, exists and is out there, but it's certainly rare. I don't know about what you have to say about that, but
Yeah.
I would love. I mean, it's going to happen at some point. James O'Keefe, married, has a kid. His wife runs in the room and goes, "Hey, James, pull up the toilet seat down." And your son's like, "Mom, I actually have footage of Dad. That's Dad." And you're like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Project Veritas, Dad."
Gotcha.
That would
Yeah.
be great. But go ahead, Adam.
What does the future look like for you? Because you just started OMG, O'Keefe Media Group. You started Project Veritas in what year?
I was 24, so that would have been 2009.
So this is almost 15 years. No, what am I talking about? 2004, almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, I've been doing this since I was 19.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
20
this
years.
is who you are.
Holy-
This is what you do. You know, Patrick, our CEO, he wrote the book, Your Next 5 Moves. I assume that you're a linear thinker, or you're, you know, going to basically be a man of sequencing what's next. Map out what's next for the next 5 years. Are you focusing solely on your career, on building your new media company? Do you want to settle down? Do you have a family? Because, you know, Elon Musk famously said on Bill Maher, can you be fully happy if you're 100% just focused on work? He said, I think you can be half happy, right? Because we all want to have love, find a woman, be a family man. I think we want to do that. So what does the next 5 years or so look for James O'Keefe?
I mean, I do want to have a family, and I do hope to have children. There's always the concern they're going to leverage my family against me, because one of the things I hear from all these guys on the inside is I have a mortgage, I have a roof, I have kids. It's like nonstop focused on, and I always say to them, well, okay, but are your children going to respect you if you just are doing a job you don't like and lying so that you can get a paycheck? So I'm constantly having that conversation all the time.
Good.
And I don't want that to happen to me, but I think the story that we did this week was very encouraging, because usually it's 1 or 2 whistleblowers. Like Pfizer is 1 or 2 people.
Yeah.
With IBM, it was 150 people.
Oh my God.
Inside the company, 150 people. So the future, I think, is a strategy needs to be to embrace and harness all the people on the inside in 2024 coming out. But I think planning 5 years ahead, I mean, plan up until the election. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. All bets are off. So I think you're a liar if you know what 5 years from now looks like.
James, Pat's book just came out, what, two weeks ago?
Yeah.
Choose Your Enemies Wisely. And to be honest with you, James, before even hearing about Pat talking about it and the lead up to the book release, in my mind, I was like, I'm a Christian. I'm trying to be a better person. I don't want enemies. I want to love everybody. But after going through the book and realizing not only you have to, because they're there, even if you don't want to acknowledge them, they motivate you. They help you move forward and everything. If you had to pick, James, you have like 1 or 2 that are out there. I mean, obviously, the government, the FBI, they're always going to be our enemies. But do you have any specific enemies that are on your radar?
I mean, I've pissed off a lot of powerful people. I mean,
Yeah.
Google, CNN, the New York Times, the FBI, the DOJ, HHS, DHS, Customs, Pfizer, BlackRock, and now IBM. So I feel like, I don't know I mean,
It's like there's no short list for you.
I mean, now they're over there like, you can investigate China, so I'm going to piss off the Chinese.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the journalism is different. I'm not out to, an investigative journalist is not there to hurt people or get power. It's to information. And even in journalism, when you piss someone off, so to speak, they still respect you.
100%.
People that I have on tape, they'll talk to me.
Yeah.
They're not like, attacking me, that they want to talk to me and reason with me and give me their perspective. So I feel like you have to get big enough as a media organization where you are respected by your enemies and you're trying to be fair to your enemies, right? I'm not trying to hurt people. I'm trying to expose people for what they are, and people have angels and people have demons. We all have goodness and bad things about ourselves. So it's being fair to the institution. And the CEO of IBM responded. And he goes, oh, James O'Keefe is a journalist, and he got me saying these things. That's what he said.
Oh, he stepped up.
I've never been called a journalist by the people I covertly record before.
Wow.
He stepped up.
So he really stepped up, and wow. And did you see what? I mean, I'm pretty sure you did. The mayor of Boston had a party, a Christmas party, and invited 0 white people on purpose. And then her apology was just like, yeah, it really wasn't supposed to go out. We weren't supposed to tell everybody. We'll try and fix it next year. It's like unbelievable that, and like James, it almost.
By the way, she's Asian and she's married to just a
white guy.
He didn't even catch an invite.
Yeah,
That's
he
fucked
wasn't
up.
there. I saw the photo, James. And just real quick before we wrap up, do you feel like what is this anti-white? Mind you, I'm a Middle Eastern guy, but where's all this anti-white, white man evil, oppression? Like, it's only been a couple of years where I'm seeing it. It's like you guys are the enemy now to the left. What the hell happened? Why are they pushing this so hard?
It's like this diversity, equity, inclusion, DEI.
Yeah.
It's inside all the companies. They send me all the slide decks inside all, not just IBM, but there's other companies. And there's this push, and I don't know exactly where it's coming from. I don't know the motivation, but it's an extreme push inside these companies to not just, whites and Asians, targeting them, discriminating. I don't know, and I'll find out.
But yeah, please.
What exactly is behind all of that? And James Lindsay has done a lot of work on that. That's a guy you should talk to. He's kind of the expert in that. But it's definitely happening, and that's why so many people are reaching out, because they got fired, passed up for promotions, and they're pissed.
Oh, wow.
So anytime you hear, I don't know, but I'll find out, come out of James O'Keefe's mouth, there's going to be a problem for somebody.
Yeah, sometimes it takes me a long time to get the story, but we'll always get the story.
That's awesome, dude. So O'Keefe Media Group.
OMG.
Yeah, give us at least a little insight what to expect coming out of that.
We're here at AmFest. I'm speaking on Tuesday morning. Got whistleblowers coming on stage. We're doing a master class on investigative reporting, 2 p.m. Tuesday, and everyone here is asking me, should I have a party, everyone? Should I have a party?
Hell yeah.
Everyone's like, people care more about the parties than the journalism.
Yeah.
They're like, James, your legendary parties. So I may have to throw a last-minute after party together and...
Hold on, James.
Yeah.
Tell me, now you're talking my language here, buddy. I've been in the Miami nightlife world forever,
right?
and then I got into finance and now podcasting, but this is my world. Tell me a little bit more about your parties.
We have these parties. Last year we had a party here, and we had a party in Miami right before I met you, and I don't know why, but our parties are really good. There's dancing, there's theatrics, and I come from a theater background, so I might just have to have a party either tonight or tomorrow night here at AmFest.
Okay.
Place to be disclosed. Every single person comes up to me.
Party.
Where's the party? Can I
Even
get tickets
Brady.
to your party?
Brady was like, party. I go, how'd you?
Brady's like, but forget the journalism.
Yeah.
Where's the party?
Yeah.
You're like, no, they're going to steal the election. He's like, no,
Well,
listen,
James,
party.
I believe it was Andrew Breitbart that famously said that politics is downstream of culture. You throw the party,
That's right.
Yeah.
and then you can talk a little business at the party.
That's exactly right. I'm working on it.
We
Yeah.
look forward to partying with James O'Keefe. Everyone give it up for
James,
James
thank you so
O'Keefe.
much, brother. Thank you, brother. I
Nice to
appreciate
see you
a lot.
guys. Thanks for having me. Thank you.